Good Monday morning. Glad I got a chance to spend some time with you. Hope it'll be an encouragement to you. Hope you're looking forward to the week. I think of Psalms 118. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. We're thankful that God's given us another day. Going through Ecclesiastes, just picking out different passages, we get to Ecclesiastes chapter 4. And in chapter 4, it talks about that when you go into the house of the Lord, when you go into the sanctuary of the Lord, be more ready to listen than to talk. And he goes down and he talks about that if you give a promise to the Lord, keep that promise. Because when you promise God what you're going to do, God expects you to fulfill your promise because he keeps his promises. Solomon says it's better to not to vow or not to promise than to promise and not fulfill. So when we go into God's house, let's listen. Let's let the Holy Spirit speak to our heart and to our lives. If we made God a promise, let's keep that promise. Let's make sure that we are people of our word, and that when we make a promise to the Lord, that we keep that promise to the Lord. So the question is, have you promised to raise your children in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord, in the way of the Lord? If you have, or are you fulfilling that promise? Have you made a promise before the Lord to be faithful to your spouse? Or are you keeping that promise? Have you made a promise to the Lord to serve him? Or are you keeping that promise? We need to see and we need to realize that when we promise the Lord, he expects us to keep our promises. So let's do what God has called us to do. Let's do let's do what we promised the Lord that we were going to do. Let's raise our children in his knowledge. Let's be faithful in our homes. Let's be the leader God's called us to be. And let's live for Christ each and every day. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow.